everyone, welcome to a casual garden stroll done in a more casual way than we've been doing them lately. Took a little bit of time this weekend to, try to enjoy a little bit of summer. So, which I really have no business doing. There's a lot, I don't know what's happening here. It's really muggy out here. So I would imagine by the end of this video, there will be a lot of frizz here. As we know, based on previous comments, this is not a hair channel, which is good for all of us. Anyway, took a little bit of time this weekend to try to do some 4th of July stuff and enjoy some family time. There is a lot to get done in the garden, and my goal was to start this video this week by putting the last plant that's sitting around in a pot in the garden. And it will happen today. It will not happen this morning. But I did want to do a little job while we talk about some garden stuff, because I show this every so often. I have not yet put the string trellis up on this post yet for the purple bell vine. So I thought I'd show you how I do that. It's not that exciting, but some people have asked. So we're gonna do that while I just talk about garden stuff. Okay, so I planted the purple bell vine some time ago, but I did not give it its trellis, and I use a little string trellis on here. So first thing I have to do is sort of get it on. It will twine on whatever it can find, so I have to sort of gently tease it out from there. I don't even know. See, there's not a lot happening there yet. Here's some more. Okay, so this starts first with a shortish bamboo stake, and I just jam that along the back of the pot. That is just going to be what we tie something to. We don't really want to see it. So I just stick it in there so we've got something firm to tie to. Then I just use this cheap nylon line from the hardware store. If I could find the end, that would be fabulous. Okay, there's two things we have to do. First off, I'm going to have to move the camera for this. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to tie a ring around up there. Some of this stuff, by the way, I will maybe try to put a timestamp on here if you're not interested in any of this and you're just here for the garden tour, so you can just skip this nonsense. So the way I do if I want to get this tight around here, which I do, I tie a bowline in the end of the line. I'm sure YouTube has a better tutorial on how to tie a bowline than I could ever give you. But the rabbit goes, around, out of the hole, around the tree and back into the hole. I don't know, that's how I learned it as a kid. Anyway, so I tie a little loop on the bottom. Let me go up here. And then in order to make this tight, which is what I want, I use that as some leverage. And then I just get a couple of half hitches in there, but literally overhand knots would work too. Doesn't matter what you tie, just to make it tight there. It's got to kind of, so that we've got something to tie off to, and I'll show you what we're tying off in a second. All right, now this is a knot that is a little bit more complicated. Again, I would refer you to YouTube for the tutorial on this, but this is a rolling hitch. So what that means is we're going to tie a little hitch onto here that won't pull up, so that you wrap around once underneath. This is what they call the standing part of the line. So you wrap once around, twice around below that, and then you come up on top of that and you do one hitch around and then go through the middle on top of that. This is a very slippery bamboo stake, and then when you put tension on this, that will not slip up. So the key is 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. So I just repeat this same process 2 more times. Now, not every vine will like a string trellis, but purple bell vine loves it. I think Thumbergia would do fine on it. I don't know if it would be enough for mandevilla. It kind of depends on how small the tendrils are. The smaller the tendrils are, the more likely it would be able to hang on to that. Something with thicker tendrils would need something thicker to grab onto. Then we just take them up to, I did not cut that one too long. Then I just tuck them underneath the line that I tied up here, and that's where I just do a couple more half hitches and try to cut off the end so we don't see them so much. And then I like these to go, I like it to kind of wrap the post, so I bring one around to the sides then too. So I've got myself in a bit of a pickle with the garden because I am really at the point where like routine maintenance stuff really needs to be done. And I'm not just talking about like weeding, all of that's part of it, but like the roses already have bloomed. Like everything, as I knew this would happen. So we had such a slow start to the season. And now, then we got that big heat wave and everything just went nuts in that big heat wave. So a lot of stuff bloomed itself out very quickly. So like the roses lasted for like a week. So everything needs to be deadheaded from that. The ladies' mantle, I need to cut that back. Because now I'm starting to time things a little bit because I want the garden looking good for a specific event in early August. So now I'm trying to time things a little. So I think it's time for me to cut back the ladies' mantle, even though it's looking pretty good, so that because I'm going to cut it back fully, so that I know there'll be a nice flush of foliage in August. And same thing goes, like it's getting time to think about cutting back the chive hedge, although that has not been great this year. I think it did not have enough water early on. So that one was not super tight, but it's okay. There we go. So that's why I really need to wrap up like the spring jobs rather, because those should have been done by now. Because again, it's not spring anymore, but I'm doing the best I can. Well, that little bit is no good. Here's some. And this is the thing, like I feel like some of this stuff, like none of the containers have really taken off yet because, everything was cold and then everything was super hot, and a few of the things, the really tropical stuff appreciated the heat, but a lot of stuff didn't, so we're still kind of on the back foot with this. I have no doubt it will catch up quickly, but I do wish, boy, that looks terrible. But that's just how the year's going, so we're just gonna, nothing we can do about it, that's for sure. Okay, so you can see, this is I bet you the other one's doing better. So you can see that I've got 3, and now I just train them up here, and now they'll probably be much happier now that it's going up. Train them up like that. This is, I don't know if I've shown you these containers. This is a Plectranthus Mona Lavender. I have showed you this. This is a little Roya, which I didn't know how it would do because of the sun, but it looks pretty good in there. We've got the Terenia, Coralina, Plectranthus guacamole. The other one is way bigger than this one. And then we've got a black mondo grass in there. Matches the coral. See, this is why I plant the Coralina, because coral door, Coralina, get it? All right, let's go for a walk around the garden. In fact, let's go a different way than we usually go. We got a little bit of rain last night. Not like a lot, but enough to make everything really wet. It's got a flower here on the Brugmansia. The Brugmansia is looking much happier now that it's gotten a pop, but that is a water every day situation right there. The Clematis Etoile Violet is just starting to bloom along here. I always pick this as one of my top Clematis. It is such an amazing performer. Really, really good. The grass, we just mowed, 2 days ago? It's amazing how fast grass grows this time of year. Let's take one last look at this, because this will be cut back by next weekend. Like I said, I don't have to do it right now, but I am trying to plan for August. And there's a few other plants I planted in there that would be good for them to get a little bit more sun so they can catch up a little bit. Look, you guys, do you see it? The greenhouse is gone. Oh my God, what a relief. I thought that was going to be down by, late May. Early July, late May, close enough. I told you that, there's usually some grass damage. It's not as bad as it was with the other greenhouses, actually. And this one was up for a lot longer. So I think this will recover fine, quickly enough for our taste. Obviously, our lawn is nothing great. Gatsby Glow Ball. This is a new small oak leaf hydrangea. Look at the beautiful flowers on it. I'm loving it. I really hope it likes this spot here because I just have such terrible luck with oak leaf hydrangeas, in part because the deer, for me, that's the hydrangea that the deer eat, is the oak leaf hydrangeas. They'll go after the arborescens a little bit too, but I did plant some caladium bulbs in here. I mean, I don't know how long I'm supposed to wait for something to happen with those. For me, that's the problem with caladiums. They're very expensive to buy. If you start them from bulbs, you can't plant the bulbs out very early because they just absolutely cannot handle any cold whatsoever. So then you plant them out and you're like, oh, well, is it even going to grow by August? Here's the flower, the last of the flowers on this clematis. Purpurea compacta. I'll probably, when the flowers are done, I'll actually probably cut this back pretty good so that it's not flopping like that. Might get some new growth on it. I thought this was a plant that I bought from Northwind. It is looking a little oxeye daisy-ish to me, but it hasn't flowered yet and all the oxeyes have, so I mean, it's either a plant I bought from Northwind or it's a weed. We'll find out soon enough, I guess. Yeah, things in this garden are looking good. I have to do a little weeding and a little bit of edging, but otherwise, pretty happy here in this garden. Tricolor Beach still looking great. Oh, here's the flowerfuls. The flowerfuls planted last year. This is the new hydrangea from First Editions. Arborescence type, bred for stiff stems. Big are nice flowers, not necessarily big flowers. So one of the reasons why I was really attracted to this one is that the flowers are about the same size as Annabelle, and I really like the size of the flowers on Annabelle a lot. One of the reasons I soured a little bit on some of the other ones is that the flowers were so big. They were too big, and for me to say that, they're really big. So anyway, we've got nice flowers on here. What I'm loving is how dark green the foliage is looking on these. I think the foliage is really beautiful on these. I feel like more so than Annabelle. Over here, this is a Haas Halo. I've got one of many Haas Halos we have around here. So this is just starting to flower. This one I bought from White Flower Farm, let's say 4 years ago or maybe 5 years ago. I bought it. It came as like a half-gallon plant maybe. So it's taken some time to get up to size, but it's a beautiful plant. I think there's one Incredible left in here, and I believe that's it right there. Here is Niobe growing up along my driftwood trellis. I'm fully in favor of this. I'm not sure that it matches very well with the Lucifer crocosmia flower. I wouldn't say that's exactly a great color match, but who cares, because they're both beautiful. Here's a spigula that Michelle from Garden TLC brought me last year. She brought me 3 of them. I think only one survived, but there it is. And I love spigula. I would love it to survive. That's Bleeding Heart Helianthus? Helianthus and Heliopsis I get mixed up. Oh, I see I've got some things to plant in there. I see a pot sticking in there that I haven't planted yet. Yeah, so there's some stuff to do. Whatever, there's stuff to do everywhere. I guess I'm going to stop just saying that. Here's a very rude ditch lily that popped up in my garden that was not invited. Oh, talk about rude. Do you guys see that? Look at that. Freaking purple bellvine flowering. That will get out immediately. Immediately. I can't believe they even got that far. That's terrible. Terrible, horrible weed. Some of this has gotten a little bleached out, like the blue mouse here's unfortunately got a little bleached out here. Just a bit of a bummer. But, because, you know, hostas, once they don't go back. Once they look like that, that's how they're going to look for the rest of the season. I've been busy filling in this edge of the border. You're going to see more about this in a video. It's ready to go. I just got to finish the edit on it. But I did just put in, I had some extra wire vine left. I have no plans for anything else along this edge this year, so I'm like, we're just going to pop those in there, and that will be good. Over here, like I said, it's really strange. Like just a lot of stuff is like not growing. I have got to get in here and deal with weeding this, the gravel a little bit. So this bed is planted with a couple of dahlias, 2 or 3 or 4, that were tubers. Coreopsis, Didicus. I put in a few gladiolus, which are coming up. You can see those are there. And then yesterday I put in some Panicum Frosted Explosion. I just had a few left and I popped them in here. So this bed will either be really, really cool looking or ridiculous. Stay tuned. This bed is dahlias and Didicus. And then I did plant some Scaevola around the front of it here. Finally, these, gosh, look at, I tell you what, you turn your back and the oxalis just starts growing here. This bed is finally getting going. Remember, this I planted early and it got really nipped by frost. Unfortunately, some changes were made after, like the tiny tough stuff hydrangeas, that color looks wretched with this color. This is cherry cordial. It's quite a bossy color. It's a really difficult color to match with other colors, I think. So I love this combo, but if I'm going to do this next year, I have to be a little bit more intentional about what goes in the other beds around it, which I don't usually care about that much, but it's a pretty bad clash from that to the bright pink geraniums over there. Oh, here's a clematis blooming here. I can't tell you off the top of my head which one this is, but there's several clematis planted on this trellis here. Let's take a quick spring. Oh, here, I will show you. This willow is turning yellow. This is either too much water or too little water. I didn't think too much water was a thing for willows, but I sure don't feel like I mean, the other plants in the pot are doing fine. So I don't know. And I put like 3 big drain holes in that thing. So I'd have a hard time believing that it's a drainage issue. So I don't know what's happening. We're just, if you have ideas on this situation, let me know. Checking in here, looking great. I'm going to start cutting off these lower leaves that have started to flop on the banana a little bit. But and I need to deadhead some dahlias in here. This is, by the way, this is why I don't put dahlias in like the window box in tall containers, because you really do need to keep up on the deadheading or it just looks like garbage. This is the Rad Raz, I think it is. Kind of short one they put in here. The other ones are at the back. They've not started blooming yet. Anyway, that's looking, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Okay, this is what's left of the plant pile. Well, minus a few things on the other side of the driveway. So, some Verbena bonariensis. I bought these orange begonias and then changed my mind. So those are going to get stuck in the ground somewhere, I guess. I don't know how well they'll do in the ground somewhere. But a few begonias I grew from like corms that I didn't actually expect to do anything. A couple little random plants here and there. This is the dahlia, the Honka dahlias that I planted in a container video. And then just a few things here. Mostly this is limonium. I think I got 6 of those. A few other things. This should be no sweat to get in the ground. And all of these will get in the ground come hell or high water today, because I am not going to bed until that's done. Along the front border here, things are pretty good. It's time to do some pruning on those guys. The tiny tough stuff here are starting to bloom. These always bloom in a range of pink to blue because, like, I never know how much aluminum sulfate they'll take up. I didn't do a lot of it last year. This one apparently is going to be quite pink. These are going to be, there's one that's like fairly blue. This is the Hudson River clematis that just kind of scrambles through here, sort of scrambles. I think we talked about this Welsh onion last time, which I love. Lots of dahlias coming up, looking good. I'm just looking at those now, and it looks like I haven't pinched those out, so those are going to get pinched out. I always pinch out the centers once on them. There's the urn, looking pretty good, except I'll tell you the Fairy Trail green hydrangeas got cooked in that high temperature, just cooked. Everything else was totally fine. So I'm going to have to cut off those blooms. And can anyone tell me if you have grown that? I know it's a pretty new plant. Did you get more blooms? Because if I'm not going to get more blooms on that, we might have to swap it out for something else because I don't really just want to look at foliage all year. We'll see. Here's the poppies. Just this little line of poppies here. It's a lot, but it's really pretty. And of course, I love the seed heads on these. Oh, sorry about that. Popstar. Thank goodness for Popstar. Looking great right there. Unfortunately, I have a little hole in the ground cover right there where those poppies were growing. I wish I could find like a 6-pack of just white alyssum to just stick in there. If anyone sees that in southeastern Wisconsin, let me know. I'm loving this purple and blue moment over here. I love it. I think it looks, I'm really happy with that. I've started putting in plants underneath the poppies because I won't keep all of these standing. I will leave some standing, but I won't leave all of them standing for the seed heads. This is, by the way, earlier this weekend, this one was flowering. It was kind of cool because the whole path was just pink poppies. Sorry, watch the finger there. Pink poppies all the way down. This is Lauren's grape. I can't identify a lot of these because I always grow such a mix, but that's Lauren's grape. We know that. More poppies. Here's the white wands Veronica. Looking really pretty there. Always looks so good with that dark reader geranium, or that's what I believe it is. And the snowy spires verbascum. See how well I remember the names when I'm not dead tired like I was last week? Is looking really pretty. And I love it when it does this. Give me something that looks like Dr. Seuss drew it any day of the week, and I'm here for that. I think that is so fun. All right, let's, boy, it's kind of dark here. I wonder if it's going to rain again. Oh, here, let's just look at this border really quick. So I put some of the pink scaevola in the front here, and this is Tiny Quickfire hydrangea. I love the idea of this hydrangea. The performance is a bit lacking for me at this point, but I'm not giving up on them because I really love this idea of a basically 18-inch tall hydrangea. I have put through here some zinnias. Most of the zinnias that I grew that are left are in here, so I hope they do well. Then we've got, it really feels like it's going to rain here. Some dark, I think those are just what I call white single. It's a dahlia. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's dark full. It kind of looks like part of the HS Date series, to be honest. We've talked about eclipse. I had to move, so we'll talk. I guess I'll talk about this in a video at some point. I am involved in a competition to grow a Thai colocasia. I didn't ask to be invited in it. I always like a competition. I don't think I stand much of a chance, but this guy has been moved a couple of times, and now he's in. I don't have a spot in my garden for this thing, to be honest. So it's in this big pot right here. It's got a lot of goodies in it. I hope it loves its life and grows big, but I had to move what was in there out. So one was in there was a Fairy Trail Bride, which I have moved over to this pot over here. And I have put the other things that were in there. Oh, hang on. I'll show you. We'll double back in a second. But remember how the lemony lace I was losing branches to what I'm sure is verticillium wilt? Well, there we go. There's 2 more in there. So I'm sure that'll be done in a few days. It'll be shot. Okay. So the other thing that I had planted in the big pot with the Fairy Trail Bride that I had to move was some of this cascading surefire begonia and some sweet potato vine, and then I put a little verbena veneriensis in the top there. The climbing hydrangea has fallen off the top of the shed there, so I have to go in there and stick it back up. I usually just I put a thumbtack in usually, and then tie it in, but we can't close the door right now because it has fallen down, so I gotta move it over there. You can walk up this way. Look how tall the Durvilla, Kodiak, that's Kodiak Red Durvilla, It's not in full sun, so it's not going to get to its best color. But look at how tall it's gotten. I mean, that's 4.5, 5 feet there. I'm trying to walk fast, but also not shake the camera. I cut back the purple smoke bush really hard this year because it was really misshapen. Why didn't I do that sooner? Came back gangbusters. It looks great. All right. You saw the video where I worked on this. The grass is growing in pretty good, actually. Shocker. You can see the weed piles are everywhere. I'm at that stage where I'm just throwing weeds everywhere. This is Stacky's Humalo, also known as Bethany, starting to flower. Great plant. Love it. It looks like I have some of that. I think this is that hair allium. Must have stuck some of that in at some point. This garden's looking really good. So we looked last week, and you can see those alliums went over really quickly. They're still, this is Ambassador. Last week, they were perfect purple balls. This week, you can see that, sorry, car. This week, you can see that they're fading. They're still beautiful. They're still beautiful at this stage, but they're definitely fading. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, well, that's why we don't stand under trees here. Jeez Louise. Okay, it's raining. Going inside. Okay, well, I looked at the radar and didn't realize we were gonna get a bit of a storm coming through. So that's coming yet. So I better get out here and finish up. Anyway, I was over there when we stopped. Right there is the branch that fell down in the middle of that video, which is, that's great. Anyway, this part of the garden's looking pretty nice. I did cut back some of the salvia a little bit. Darwin's joining us and announcing his Darwin! Dar! Come on. Yeah, this part of the garden's looking pretty nice, actually. I do like these these tiny little poppies pop up in here. I like them. I think they're pretty. Okay, moving along. This is the comfrey sorry about this big steps there. That's comfrey. This is Bocking 14, which is a mostly sterile variety. Darwin. I have, because I'm silly and ridiculous, planted 3 more hostas in here. This is Aspen Blue, because I just think I'm going to outsmart the deer one of these years. So there's one. Hey, Darwin! Darwin, stop. Hold on. Sorry about that. Darwin was antagonizing. There's a Bernie's mountain dog next door, and he is a sweet boy, but he's a rescue, and he has some issues with other dogs. And Darwin was antagonizing him, so I had to stop that. I'm pretty happy with how the hanging baskets are looking. Yikes. Anyway, sorry about all the interruptions today, you guys. Anyway, I'm liking the combination. I think it looks good. It is starting to rain a bit more than I anticipated here. So we are going to, I think, kind of pause here. We've covered most of the high points here. The legal area along, which I think is Fatsia now. I don't know. Anyway, this is Desdemona along the creek here. Looks so pretty. It's still looking pretty good. Not a ton of slug damage yet. It does succumb to slug damage, but it's looking really good. So once I get like all the jewelweed cleared out of the creek, or we get a really big rain that clears it out for me, this should look really nice through here. All right, let me turn this around. All right, that's it. Thanks for bearing with me. Sorry about the sort of weather interruption here. I didn't realize that was coming. It puts a bit of a damper on my, oh, I do see deer damage. Uh-oh, I got all smarty pants. You know what it is? I'm turning around here. It's this hosta right there. Can you see that? And you know what it is? I rarely get into the middle of the bed. I spray all around beds. I rarely get into the middle of the bed. So I bet you, and they're coming up. I'm sure they're walking through the creek and they're taking a left and they're coming up there to nibble. Well, we'll have to remember that for future deer patrol. All right, that's it, you guys. Have a great day in your garden. We'll be in soon. Lots of videos to come. I am the queen of consistency. One week I have like 6 videos, and the next week I have 1. We'll settle in eventually, you know me. But there is more to come and some interesting things to show you in the garden. So have a great day and a great week in your garden. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.